Martin O'Neill has just fired back at Rangers boss Danny Rohl with an absolutely brutal response, and wait until you hear what he said. The war of words ahead of Sunday's Ibrox derby is heating up fast. We've also got Luke Macauan's incredible story behind his Stuttgart goal, and Ali McCoist has dropped a bombshell title claim that you need to hear. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Martin O'Neill did not need much encouragement to respond to the noise building before Sunday's trip to Ibrox. What began as a question about Luke Macauan's post-match comments quickly turned into something else. Rangers boss Danny Rohl had weighed in on Celtic's team selection and mindset after the win in Stuttgart. The Celtic manager has been around this fixture long enough to know how words can travel across the city in a matter of hours. He also knows when to swat them away and when to lean into them. This time, there was a smile, but there was steel underneath it. Celtic head to Ibrox, still chasing at the top. They won in Germany, but went out on aggregate. The focus now is domestic. Selection calls, especially in goal, are under scrutiny. That is normal before a derby. What caught O'Neill's attention was the idea of another manager commenting on his picks. He said, "Luke's entitled to his comments, believe it or not. I think the games are hard. Every game I've been involved in since I've come back, I've found difficult." What he probably meant is that we're a fine side when we're playing at our very best. He's checking our team. Well done, old Danny. Well done. He's only in less than a year himself. He'll soon know all about it in the next 4 or 5 years. Maybe I should sit down and see if he's got a choice of some players and put my oar in there, find out what he's doing. He's had a comment about our team, about the picking of the team. Extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. He hasn't been in Glasgow long. There was humour in O'Neill's comments, but also a reminder. Derby week is not the time to start looking across the city for answers. He made that clear. He didn't throw Luke under the bus. He just put it in context. Since coming back in, O'Neill hasn't had many straightforward games. Most of them have been a grind. When Celtic play well, they can take hold of a match. When they switch off, even briefly, it costs them. What's been said this week won't decide anything at Ibrox. The first 20 minutes will. So will the moments in both boxes. O'Neill knows that better than most. He's been through enough of these derbies to understand that the chat in the build-up disappears the second the ball starts rolling. Now for the main story, as Martin O'Neill was not in the mood to let Danny Rohl's comments slide ahead of Sunday's trip to Ibrox. The Rangers manager had suggested Celtic did not push hard enough to turn the tie around in Stuttgart after going 1-0 up on the night. It was a comment that carried an amount of criticism, especially with the derby looming. O'Neill heard about it during media duties on Friday, and his reaction was instant. There was surprise in his voice and a touch of irritation. From his point of view, Celtic were dealing with a strong Bundesliga side away from home and had to defend for long spells because of the quality they faced. Celtic scored inside 30 seconds in Germany and for a while unsettled Stuttgart, but as the match wore on, they were pushed back. Viliami Sinisalo made several saves. The back line blocked shots. It was not a case of settling for the score. It was a case of handling pressure. O'Neill said, "He said what?" He continued, "He felt we didn't try and win the tie. He wants to be involved in some of these games. I never saw it like that. We were driven back. Stuttgart are a very good team. They're top 4 in the Bundesliga." So, yeah, I'm surprised he made a comment like that. When O'Neill pointed out Stuttgart are sitting in the top 4 in Germany, it wasn't by accident. He was making it clear what Celtic were up against. They faced wave after wave with 25 shots coming their way. At times, it was backs to the wall. That wasn't choice. It was the reality of playing a strong side in their own stadium. You could hear what he was getting at. Nights like that are not won by chest thumping. They swing on small margins and sustained pressure. Celtic scored early and then had to withstand a lot. They held on for the win, even if the damage from the first leg meant it wasn't enough overall. Attention now turns to Ibrox. There has been a bit of chat in the build-up, which is no surprise before a derby. It adds colour, but it won't decide anything. Sunday will be about who wins second balls and who keeps their nerve when the crowd turns up the volume. O'Neill has stood in that dugout plenty of times. Rohl is still learning what this fixture throws at you. Once the game starts, none of the comments matter. In other news, Luke Macauan needed 29 seconds in Stuttgart to write his own small piece of Celtic history. The midfielder met Junior Adamu's pass, kept his finish low, and stunned the home crowd before most had taken their seats. It was Celtic's first win on German soil. The tie was already leaning Stuttgart's way after the first leg, but that early strike gave the night a jolt. For a few minutes, belief spread through the away side. Macauan's run was sharp. He peeled off his marker and trusted the pass would arrive. When it did, he did not rush it. One touch to set, one to finish. In European football, that moment can pass in a blink. After the game, he shared a story that made the goal feel even more personal. On the team bus, his uncle's name came up in conversation. The link to a quick goal in a big stadium stuck in his mind. He said, I don't know why, but my uncle's name came up on the bus and he played for Celtic reserves. For some reason, coming here, he scored the quickest goal at Ibrox for the reserves, and that was on my mind before I came to the game. Then that happens. So many weird things were happening that made me think there was going to be a chance for me tonight. As you said, nothing beats it when you get 29 seconds in and you can go and finish. For me, I've just got to keep my head clear in those moments and know there's going to be chances in the game. If you do the right things and keep yourself mentally focused, the chances will be there. It felt good to get my first European goal as well. It's a brilliant story, and you can tell it meant something deeper to him. The way he spoke about it, it almost felt written in the stars. His uncle's name coming up on the bus, football throws up moments like that. Macauan didn't rush it. He trusted the run and finished cleanly. But the feeling around it was bigger than just good movement and composure. It didn't change the outcome of the tie, but it gave the night a bit of magic. For him, it wasn't just an early European goal, it was a story he'll be telling for years. Lastly, Ali McCoist believes this weekend's fixtures could shape more than just the Glasgow derby narrative. With Celtic travelling to Ibrox and Hearts hosting Aberdeen at Tynecastle, the former Rangers striker sees the title picture as wider than three teams. The table is tight. Hearts have set the pace. Rangers sit just ahead of Celtic. Motherwell are close enough to keep things interesting if results fall their way. That is the backdrop heading into a weekend where momentum can swing quickly. Celtic come off a win in Germany but face a different test at Ibrox. Rangers are at home and know a victory would do more than dent the hoops. It would shift pressure elsewhere. McCoist thinks a draw might suit Celtic if other results go as expected. He also raised Motherwell as a factor. They are not front and centre in most conversations, but the fixtures give them a route back into the mix if the top sides slip. He said, do you know where I would be right now? I would be 30% Celtic, 30% Rangers, and 40% Hearts. Asked by Alan Brazil if Hearts beat Aberdeen, and I think they will, would Celtic take a draw at Ibrox? He responded, yeah, I think they would, because I think a draw keeps both of them out of it. I think a defeat might put a nail in somebody's coffin. Listen, Motherwell, now that is a possibility, not necessarily going to happen, but if Rangers beat Celtic and Motherwell beat Dundee United, Motherwell are a point behind Celtic with Celtic to play twice and Hearts to play twice. It's not often you hear Hearts and Motherwell dragged into the middle of a Glasgow derby build-up. But that's where we are. McCoist's message is straightforward enough. This isn't just about Celtic and Rangers going head-to-head. Others are close enough to matter. From Celtic's side, it's pretty simple. Don't lose and you stay right there. Get beaten and it suddenly feels heavier than just 3 points. Win and the pressure swings the other way. Ibrox will be loud from the first whistle. Tynecastle won't be any quieter. By the time the dust settles on Sunday night, the table could tell a different story. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.